Yeah, we're going to start off now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session again. My name is Uwa Ajibola, and we having two visitors in our midst. I won't call Joy visitor because she's part and parcel of us now. She's been giving us all we need to learn about internet security. We're still going to do more of that, but first of all, let me give you a preamble of what the Thought Foundation is. This is where we always start from. Our aim in this this project is I'm trying to juggle two things together. I'm trying to admit more people in at the same time talking. So bear with me when you start having break in transmission. Let me put it that way. Yeah, our aim is basically to enlighten adults and seniors, elderly in the community on how to be independent, confident, and self-reliance to be productive member of their community. We desire to bridge the gap between isolation, to make people to be more to socialize with others, to communicate with others, to create this important bond within ourselves. Some people are living in isolation, and this is making life a little bit more miserable for them. So the Thought Foundation actually comes in to bridge this gap and to sort of create a life that is worthy of living for those people elderly in the society or adults in general. We believe that learning is ongoing, and apart from being it's ongoing, it doesn't have stop as it implies. Learning should be continued, and build adults in our community doesn't really mean we'll stop learning. So that's why we are here, to teach one another, to learn from one another, and to embrace internet and the fast developing world that is around us. And this is done by basically through these gadgets that our age do not really know about, but coming to be embracing it, it seems a little bit challenging. But having people like us on ground, like teachers, they will be able to enlighten us more about how to use these gadgets, how to be safe while using it, and how to be more functional in the society. Let's welcome Joy to start off at this particular time. Olushi will not be with us today, but we are expecting another visitor, and that person will be a mental health specialist that will come to enlighten us more. Hopefully, he meets up with the disappointment. Welcome, Joy, and thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope we've all had a productive week. It's nice to be here again. It's nice to be back, talking with you, learning with you, and just really looking at how we can be safe online, how we can safely use our mobile, what practical steps we can take to make sure that we are safe and we're keeping up with up-to-date technology, safe use of technology, let's put it like that. So that's the whole point. And we're really here to learn from each other, to learn from our various experiences, because I can't say I know it all. So I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, and together we're sharing ideas. So as usual, I always appreciate your participation. If you can chip in, stop me anytime, ask questions, you can contribute, reply when I ask a question. If you can, even though you don't have your video, it would be nice to hear your voice, just to know that we're all engaged and to make the session a little bit more interesting for every one of us. So today we're going to be talking about mobile phone safety. So over the past few weeks, we have been looking at internet safety, cyber safety, everything to do with tech safety whilst you're using your technology or whilst you're being online. So that's what we've been looking at. Last week, we looked at safe use of mobile phones, how we should use our mobile phones, the duration of times that we should use our mobile phones, and so on and so forth. So today we're going to be looking at, what practical steps we can take to make sure that hackers or cyber crooks, they find it really difficult. We give them a hard time to actually hack into our mobile phones, because the mobile phone is something that we use every day. Like we said, more than 5 billion people use a mobile phone worldwide. So that's the majority of the population of the world use and own a mobile phone. It might not be a smartphone, but most people have a mobile phone, and we use it for all sorts. Some people use it for their businesses. We use it for work. We use it for internet banking, more, sensitive kind of activity with our phones. We use it for shopping. We use it to communicate, to connect with people around the globe. We use it for all sorts, constantly, every day, so I think it's wise for us to educate ourselves on what we can do to make sure that we're using it safely. So we can never really exhaust this topic, let's be honest. We're just going to address it, bit by bit, talk about it in fragmented, information, break it down to our level, to everyday practical tasks. So we're going to talk about, so as I said, it's really how we can use our mobile phones safely. And one of the first things that came to my mind is just to check and just to talk through the whole essence of, having that extra protection on our phones, having our password. The first points really, have your mobile phone password protected, or having that extra security on your phone before you actually access it. So it could be maybe password protection, it could be Face ID, it could be fingerprint, it could be a pattern or a PIN. The whole idea, as I said, is that other people don't have easy access to your device where you store private and sensitive information about yourself, where you have your identity in that phone. You have information that's specific to you or that's sensitive that nobody else should really be having access to. So it's just really checking and reminding us that if you don't have any sort of protection, extra protection on your phone, it's something that you really, really need to consider. I strongly advise you to have one. I mean, in the past, I used to always have a PIN. So I have a certain PIN that I use for all my phones. Even when I move from one phone to another, I have a PIN that I use. But within my last contract and the phone that I've been using, I've upgraded myself. So I'm very proud. I now use fingerprints. So that's great. That's improvement for me. And maybe the next step would be to probably do like a Face ID or do a pattern or something. But as long as you have one or two, you can have one or two combinations of this. I think it's extremely useful for us to have that in place. So does people really use this? How many people would say they have a protection on their phone? I can't see faces now. I don't know what I've done to my computer, but if you've got any form of protection on your phone, just shout out or just put something. Can see participants. Okay, so just put something on the chat, say yes, or put one, or give me a thumbs up. I just want to know that people are here. Yeah, I can see your thumbs up. If you've got a protection on your phone. Thank you, Antonia. Anybody else? Anybody else has got protection on their phone? Okay, right. So if you don't, please, after this session, do try and get one. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was avoiding using public Wi-Fi network. Now, I know that the last time we talked about choosing Wi-Fi networks over mobile transmission. And the reason for that was that it was safer to use the Wi-Fi rather than the mobile network. There's less transmission from the Wi-Fi network to the mobile network. Now, this is not to say that we should just go and log into any public Wi-Fi network. And there's a good reason for that. So if you're in your home or in a trusted place with a trusted network, then that's fine. That's maybe acceptable. If you've gone to visit a friend, that's okay. But if you're, because I know some people, especially young people, actually, I know of some young adults that usually they run out of data. And even my daughter does it, to be honest. I need to have a word with her. They run out of data and they're like, oh, mom, I'm going to this place. There's usually network around this area. I'm going to stand there and log into their Wi-Fi network. I'm going to go to this place, this cafe, this, I don't know, wherever it is, and log onto their Wi-Fi. I mean, at the time, it's handy because probably you're desperate to connect with somebody or maybe to make that call or do something online. But it has been advised that before you use public Wi-Fi network, you need to be sure. You need to be sure. And that's because it often lacks, security measures called encryption. So it lacks the encryption, and the encryption, what it does is that it scrambles the information that is sent from your phone or your computer device to the router. So strangers cannot read it. Whereas if you log in onto your own personal Wi-Fi network, that's already there. If it's a public one, it's not guaranteed. I'm not saying it's never there, but it's not guaranteed, especially if it's one it's not trusted. And without this security measure in place, the information that you send over this network can potentially be intercepted by cyber criminals. So just to be aware that, most public Wi-Fi network might not have that encryption that you have in your own private Wi-Fi network at home. So just be careful that whatever you're doing, sometimes they even monitor your web searches, they monitor the things that you do online, and then they come back and use it as marketing. And they send it as marketing kind of resources to you, to your emails. Sometimes you wonder why sometimes you're on your email, and then suddenly something that you've researched maybe the previous day or 24 hours ago somewhere, or somehow it's just landed on your email. And that's because sometimes cyber crooks, they have access to the Wi-Fi network that you're using, and they kind of monitor your activities. And if care is not taken, they can have access to sensitive information about you. So this opens up, using public Wi-Fi generally opens up some serious risk, thus requiring some extra steps. And these are the extra steps that we need to take to make sure that if we're in a public space, we rather use our mobile data, and unless we're in a trusted place. Okay. And if you have to do something sensitive online, try to stick to web pages that starts with HTTPS. I don't know whether everybody can see this, rather than just HTTP. Now, if you notice, if you look at the screen, I'm just hovering around this point here. So when you're going on websites, you try and make sure that the website contains this HTTPS rather than the HTTP. And the reason is that the S stands for secure, which indicates that whatever website that you're going into has got that encryption to protect your data and any, sensitive private information that you have on your phone. You can also look for a green lock icon at the beginning of the browser address, which indicates that the website connection is secure. So don't just log on to it, especially if it doesn't have a password. It's even more suspicious. I've been in hospital before where you have to log into, the hospital Wi-Fi, and there is usually a password. So I've been in settings like that, but there's no password. It's free entry and exit. And that gets you worried, isn't it? Because you wonder who else is behind the scene watching your activities. So these are the little things that we can put in place, and just be mindful of that whenever we're in a public space, don't just jump into using the free Wi-Fi. I know it's freebie. For some of us, some people might have limited data. That's understandable, but you have to consider the consequences. You have to consider the impact it might have. It could be really, really detrimental. you know, these cyber criminals, they can go far and beyond to make sure that, you know, they get hold of your personal and sensitive information. And the last point is, if at all, avoid using Wi-Fi network in public rather than, you know, endangering yourself. Okay, so the next point we will look at is for people to stick to official app stores. So I know we all have apps on our phones. I mean, I was thinking about it today, and when I looked at my phone, I had over, I would say over 30 apps on my phone. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, like I always say. It depends if you're using all the apps, but come to think of it, are we really using every single apps on that phone? Sometimes you download an app for a specific reason, and you use it for that purpose, and you never ever come back to it again. And that's it, done and dusted. And then that app is there. You're not going into that app. You don't update the app. Just bear in mind that if you don't update the app, it means that sometimes you could be lacking. They could be lacking in their security. For example, I used an app today, and as I was in the middle of using that app, it told me the app, I got like a prompting on my phone to say, update app, update with recent, no, I think it's something like install recent app or update, something like that, something along those lines. So I had to leave the site and go back and reinstall. So the more you have apps on your phone, the more vulnerable you leave yourself. Apps that you're not using, it means that it's possible if there's any malicious activities going in the background on that app, you're not going to be aware because you're not using it. It's just dormant on your phone, and you're not updating it so that the security and privacy on that app is also updated. So it's just for us to be mindful to always stick to the official app store whenever you're downloading applications. Because also I must say this, that some applications that you're trying to download on your phone might not be on your app store, okay? But that should make you be aware, that should get you suspicious if it's not on your app store. And if it's on your app store, then before you actually do the download, because some malicious apps are also finding their way to Android store, to iPhone store. So you should always take just little steps, like check the description, check the views or the downloads, the amount of downloads they've got, and just read a little bit of review about that app, just to make sure that there's nothing suspicious about it. So stick to downloading the app from the app store. Sometimes you get a link on your mobile or maybe on your phone, text message, and they say, click on that link. And once you click on that link, it takes you to another link. That link takes you to another link. And it's just going in layers, and you never really get to the bottom of it. So that's really suspicious. And in the end, it tells you to download something. So that's not good. If we're getting links like that, no, don't click on that link, because it might take you to another link. That'll take you to another link, and it just kind of breaches the security on your phone, and then it leaves you vulnerable. So again, if we have any app to download, we should always try to stick to the app store. So the next point is to back up your data. And there are actually quite a number of reasons why we need to do that. But I've just concentrated on two. The most common reason why we need to back up our data is because it makes the process of transitioning from your old phone to the new phone easier. So that's good. Everybody does that. So some people on average use their phone for maybe about 2 years or maybe 3 years before they move on to the next phone. So it's easier if you've got backup, and then you can just transfer. But also it ensures that your data stays with you even if your phone is lost or stolen, allowing you to remotely wipe the data on your lost or stolen phone while still having a secure copy of the data stored in the cloud. So a lot of us store our data because we do gather a lot of information. For example, your pictures, your videos. If you look over the years and you're moving them from year to year to year, it just really clogs up your storage system. So a lot of us now are storing in the cloud, which is a good thing. So if your phone gets lost, you might be able to retrieve back your information. You might be able to retrieve back your data, those important photos, those important videos, you will be able to retrieve them because you have stored your data in the cloud, which apparently is quite safe. And both iPhones and Android phones have straightforward ways of backing up your phone regularly. So if you've never really thought about storing your data, your information in the cloud, maybe that's something you need to think about, because nobody's going to go to the cloud to steal that. But your phone can physically get stolen. And once that happens, it's quite devastating, because sometimes you do have some sentimental information there, even if you don't have anything sensitive, but there are pictures, there are memories, there are things, maybe videos that you have stored on that particular device that you have sentimental attachment to or values to that you don't want to lose. So always try and back up your phone, if you can, your data if you can. So now the next point is to learn to lock or wipe your phone remotely in case of an emergency. So to lock it remotely or even wipe its data entirely, while the last bit, which is wiping up the data entirely, might be a bit whipping, as in it's painful, the phone seems like a drastic move. If you maintain regular backups, so if you maintain regular backups of your phone because you're storing it on the cloud, it will be easy for you to just wipe them up because you can always retrieve them. So again, that's another good point, so that when your phone gets stolen, you're able to retrieve them easily, and you can wipe up some of the data because you know that you've got a backup in the clouds. For example, very recently, I actually thought I lost one of my phones, and it was really devastating for me because on that particular phone, I have my email. I have exactly what I have in my current phone in that other phone. I use the same almost like password to create to sign up to Google. Everything is exactly the same. So when I lost that phone, it was quite sad. I thought my daughter had lost the phone, but eventually we found it. And the first thing I was going to do was to actually change my password on my current phone, because if I did that on my current phone, that would automatically change the password and block the data on my other phone, which I thought had been stolen. So in a way, I thought, oh, that's actually a good thing. That makes it. I didn't actually see it like that initially until I was in a position where, I thought I had to do something to kind of protect the data on that phone. So again, that's another idea that we can take on board. So the next point is to get rid of old apps and update the ones you keep. So we've already touched on this. Every extra app you have on your phone is another app that needs updating or that may have a security issue associated with it. In a time of data breaches and vulnerabilities, deleting old app is definitely a smart move. So as I said, just doing like cleansing, it's just like when you do detox for your body. Every once in a while, you sort of like cleanse your body, or you kind of declutter your house. And you get rid of old stuff that you no longer need, just to keep everything nice and clean and orderly. That's how we need to treat our phone, because it does store up quite a lot of information, quite a lot of data, a lot of which we're not using, a lot of which we probably don't need, that we need to move on, maybe to the cloud because we don't access it even once a year, but somehow you need to store those information. So it's something that we need to do, especially with the apps. Once in a while, go through your phone, delete any app that needs to go. Some of those apps, once you delete them, it means that your details have been deleted as well. The app will not be able to, like the company or the agency that owns that app will not be able to store your detail. For some of them, you need to actually sign in and probably remove your details or your personal information from the app for you to be able to delete them and be sure that you've actually deleted and gotten rid of those sensitive information. As for the ones you keep, update them regularly and turn on auto updates if that's an option. Updates not only introduce new features to app, but they also often address security issues too. So we've already talked about that. So after this meeting, I want everyone to, at your spare time, go through your phones, delete apps that are unnecessary, apps that you don't need, apps that are clogging up your storage, delete them, keep your phone nice and clean. And also, because some of those apps, you've already put in your personal details, you've already signed up to it. Some of them have got your bank details. Just thinking about it now, I can just from the top of my head, think about 1 or 2 that's got my bank details, and I've not used them for maybe 1 or 2 years. It doesn't make sense. So I just need to get rid of them and just reduce the amount of information that I'm sharing out or leaving with agencies that I'm not actually in contact with, that I have no use of. So again, we have to sort of like do that process. Okay, so the next, we've treated that. The next point will be to protect your phone. So with so much of your life on your phone, getting security software installed on it can protect you and the things you keep on your phone. So whether you have an Android or an iPhone, what we're basically saying is that you need to, sometimes you might need to invest in some kind of security app on your phone. Some of them are even free. Some of them you might need to pay something for it. I think it's worth it. And if you go on Android, they have different apps that they have suggested, security apps that they have suggested that people can either buy or get for free to give them that extra layer of protection. So it's definitely not a waste. It's like you getting an extra lock to your safe or to your door. It's like some people have a door and then they have a protector. Why do we do that? It's just for that extra safety, isn't it? So why not apply the same idea, you know, to our phones? Just get that extra layer of security, because sometimes you can never be too up to date with everything. And sometimes you plan to do things, but you never really get around it. You procrastinate, we forget, you know, life gets in the way, and we just carry on using the phone until something happens. And then we sit back and say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have installed that security that would have, you know, probably helped me. So again, if you're thinking of what kind of security to install, because we do that for our laptops. Some of us have Norton security, we have McAfee and all that. So it's the same applies to your phone. You can actually have all of this. Although a lot of smartphones, latest smartphones, now have that extra layer of security to make sure that, you know, hackers find it difficult to access your phone, especially, you know, if you haven't put in any extra one. The smartphones does have an inbuilt one. So hopefully that should also help. And then we will talk about WhatsApp security. So I know a lot of us use WhatsApp, and there's a very popular WhatsApp scam that's been going around. You get people's WhatsApp gets hacked. Even today, I'm in a group. Surprisingly, whilst I was preparing for today's session, I'm in a group and we got a message in that group that there's a particular number that's been sending messages or trying to contact people, trying to contact members of that WhatsApp group. And that just means that somebody's phone in that group has been hacked. And therefore that person now has access to the phone numbers of everyone who's in that WhatsApp group. So you might be doing everything to make sure that you're safe and secure, you know, and everything is done, it's prim and proper, you're up to date with everything. But as long as you're in a group, it means that if one person is hacked, it means that you also be vulnerable, might potentially be a victim. And interestingly, I didn't see that message early. So I also got a phone call from this person. And I got a WhatsApp call from this person and I said, hello. And he said, hello, I'm from so-and-so family. Immediately, my mind just told me this must be a scammer. Somebody's phone. In fact, I thought my phone had been hacked, honestly. So I immediately ended the call. And what I did was I then blocked the number. So upon going onto my WhatsApp messages, I went to one of the WhatsApp group and I found out that some other members of that group had also posted some messages about getting calls from this particular number. And then people were advised to take some security measures. So I just wonder whether anybody has had any experience like this, being contacted on WhatsApp, by either scammers or people who are pretending to be who they're not, either by in fact, I must say that this person was actually very bold, because most times what people get is that they get a message from a certain number. They get a message and the person is trying to familiarize themselves with you, and it's all nice and pleasant. And then the conversation quickly turns around to probably the person start asking or making requests from you and indicating that they're in some kind of trouble and things like that. But I didn't get that. It wasn't a WhatsApp message. It was a phone call. So with our WhatsApp, because we use it quite a lot, it's very important that we have extra security. We have a two-step verification, and we all know how to block suspicious contacts from our WhatsApp. Does anybody have any experience about this? Just wondering if anyone has heard of any, maybe anybody who's been probably scammed through WhatsApp, or if you've had a personal experience yourself, maybe share it with us.
Oh, yes. It actually happened to my husband's uncle. We had a birthday party for my son. So he got a call randomly from WhatsApp. And the person was like, "Can I add you to a group?" The person said, "Oh, I think he mentioned the group, probably stole the phone from somebody in the maybe Old Boys Association. So I'm just guessing. I don't really know the group." And the person said, "Oh, I'm from Old Boys Association," assuming. "Please, we are trying to form another group. Can I add you?" And he was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, "Okay, that you will see a message. Please, can you accept it for me?" So, because somehow I was upset that day, I already knew what was going to happen. It's just so stupid of me, I must admit. But because of my anger, I already knew it was a scam. But I was not just in the mood to talk to anybody. So I was just looking at them like, So when the person called and said, "Okay, can you accept the request via WhatsApp?" And the moment he accepted it, his contact went off.
That's it. Yeah.
That was it. And then the person started asking for money from all his contact. He was like, "Oh, please, I'm in some kind of difficult situation. Please, can you please this?" So he had to go on Facebook and send SMS to all his contact to ignore whatever message. Yeah. So that's what I know about.
Yeah, thank you. So I've just learned something from there, what you said, because I've never experienced it. Hopefully I wouldn't, and if I do, I wouldn't fall victim. But what you said is that they sent like a request, and he had to, like, your husband had to participate, had to do something to enable them to have that access.
No, my husband's uncle.
Okay, your husband's uncle, yes.
Yeah,
he had to accept something.
Let's just assume that we have like maybe a group called Women Empowering Women.
Yes.
Then maybe I lose my phone. Then someone gets hold of it and is like, "Oh, I'm from Women Empowering Women. We are trying to create another group called Women Empowering Women in the UK.
Yes.
Can I add you?"
Okay.
And he was like, yeah. And I don't know what message is accepted. That was how his WhatsApp went off.
No, I understand. And it seems so real. Like, if you don't really sit back and think twice, you almost just jump at it. "Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine," because they're not asking you to do something that's outside of the ordinary. Okay, so they probably came up with a group that he was already in. And in his mind, he thought, "Oh, yes, maybe something happened to that other group. I'm happy to be in this new group." Always sit, think back, be suspicious, like we've always emphasized in this group. Be suspicious, be cautious. Always try not to even give your response immediately. "Okay, I will come back to you." Have a think about it. Maybe contact one or two other people, discuss it with them. just to see. And then sometimes when you've had time to think about it, even if it's just for a few minutes, you might actually realize that it's a scam rather than reacting immediately. Yes. So that's what we need to avoid doing, is that immediate response to jump at anything, you know, or any requests. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for sharing that with us. Does anybody else have any other experience of how they actually do this thing, this scam?
Yeah, the thing happened to me.
Oh.
You know, but this one was from my cousin. I didn't know that his phone was being scammed. You know, and the guy just called, oh, and how are you? How are you doing? How's the family? I was like, oh, you know, I know this is my cousin, but I haven't seen him for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, he just started shouting. I was like responding. Later, he now told me, please, I will need your help. When he told me, please, I will need your help, I said, you can't need my help because you are outside the country. How can you need my help? And you have other relatives. I'm just far cousin. So why will you need my help? Immediately, I just said, this is a scam. You know, I just kept quiet. I said, okay, what do you want? He said, I should hold on first, that he will get back to me. That the wife is, as in, he wants to talk to his wife. Then later, I just went through our family WhatsApp group. Then I saw where they wrote that, oh, Brother Uche's phone has been hijacked. Please don't pick a call from this person. Anybody that will call, you know. So immediately I just typed message. I said, God will punish you. In fact, your whole generation, it will not be well with you. It will
and
never
they
be well
immediately
with
back
you.
out.
You know, he didn't even bother to call again. He didn't even bother to do
They will
anything.
respond to you. They know that they've been cut out.
Yeah, they didn't even. The other one was my husband. We were just, me and my husband, we were, keep quiet. Me and my husband, we were sitting in the living room. A call just came in. From a message from your bank, you know, call the number. So my husband was like, from my bank. Okay, so my husband called the number. They were like asking my husband, they want to update, you know, blah. I was like, something just said. It was just, you know, when they start the thing, you won't even know. You think maybe they use something like, oh, okay, fine, this is charm, or maybe they've seized the person, and the person won't even know what he's doing. In fact, it takes the grace of God. Thank God I was in the living room that day with him. You know, they were just asking him, well, we need your details, your information, blah, blah, blah. My husband was just giving it. I said, what is your problem? You know who they are. Why not contact your bank first to know if this is real before you start giving them information? I was really angry, just the way that the other sister was saying. I was really boiled. I wanted to take the phone from him to hit it on the floor. So my husband went inside the room. When he went inside the room, he told them they should give him a minute, that he wants to call his bank. So he quickly called his bank. When he called his bank, they said nothing like that is a scam. That if he has given them any information, they need to block his account, everything. So my husband now came back to the living room. When my husband came back to the living room, my husband was saying, hello. They didn't say anything again. That was how they ended the call.
Yep, they knew that, you know, he's gone to verify. So they'll quickly back out and move on to the next person. Thank you very much, Antonia. So these things are real. They're happening every day. They will not stop, every minute, every hour. You know, they keep trying and trying until I actually know somebody who fell a victim, actually. And she's here. So they sent this message out, and her cousin in Nigeria had already, so the message was that, oh, she's in hospital, she needs help or emergency help and something like that. And the cousin in Nigeria sent, I think it was 100,000 naira to this person. And then there was another person here that was going to send money to that account as well. But the person was a little bit hesitant because she didn't have the money. So she wanted to borrow money to send money to this person. So luckily, by the time she started, you know, calling around to find money to try and help this person, it came out that it was a scam. So yeah, we need to be very, very much aware. They are so bold. Sometimes I see on my WhatsApp, suddenly I'm in a group of about 100 and something people that I know nothing about. And they call it One time it was healthcare visa something. I was like, whoa. And immediately, I did not even bother opening that group. I just immediately went there, deleted that group, took myself out, exited from myself from that group and deleted that group from my phone. So it's so bizarre how they find your number. And then suddenly people just think it's all right to just add you to some random groups. And that's how from there they start calling your contacts. So we need to be aware. I just wonder whether everyone has got this two-step verification on their WhatsApp to help with that extra layer of security. Do we all know how to do that? Give me a thumbs up, please.
Hi, sorry, my name is Modupiola. I joined in late. I think I don't know what verification you're talking about. I missed a lot of the programs or sessions, so I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Thank
I will
you.
explain. Yeah, I'll explain. Sorry about that. So the video will be available. I believe OWA will be able to share the video with people who came late and you can catch up. But the two-step verification, if you go on your WhatsApp, I don't know whether you use Android or iPhone, but if you go on your WhatsApp and you go on settings, and then you go on accounts, you would have the opportunity to set up an extra password on your WhatsApp. Modupeolu, which phone do you use? Which
Android.
is it Android? Brilliant.
Yes.
Are you on your phone at the moment?
Unfortunately, I can't access it. I'm driving.
Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. So you can contact myself or OWA and we can help you do that. So if you go on, basically, I can describe it anyway. So if you go on the three right button, the three buttons to your right of your phone, when you go on your WhatsApp, right? You press on that button and then you see new groups, new broadcast, and so on. You go straight down to settings. So you need to get to your settings. And then you go on to accounts. And then you go on to two-step verification. So once you get to that page, it prompts you to set up a password. So every now and then, WhatsApp will send you. So sometimes when you want to log into your WhatsApp, it will give you the opportunity to put in your password before you can access your WhatsApp. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward with Android. We can maybe post that on the WhatsApp group or something, or maybe contact OWA. Okay, so please do set that up. And it's the same for Android. Yeah, it's the same. Please do that, every single one of us. You're welcome. And also, we need to know how to block suspicious contacts. So if you don't know how to block people, now is the time to learn immediately. Don't speak with them. As soon as the number is coming up, you block them immediately. So if you don't know how to do any of that, please contact us and we'll be able to guide you through it. Okay. So we've got a short video to summarize everything that we've talked about, including some additional points that they've made. It's a really good video. I don't know whether OWA is ready to please play that video for us, just to summarize everything. And then I'm happy to take any questions or comments. OWA, when you're ready, I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, stop sharing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
People are using smartphones more than ever, and this trend isn't slowing down anytime soon. Whether you're new to smartphones or not.
Sorry, can you hear it? I just have to pause. Can you hear it before?
We can hear, but there's something else that you're playing on the background.
I'm sorry, I know what's going on now.
Yeah. So, and also if you could increase your volume as well, please.
Fantastic.
You should know that they can be a huge target for hackers. Information, which can give someone else all they need to steal your identity. People are using smartphones more than ever, and this trend isn't slowing down anytime soon. Whether you're new to smartphones or not, you should know that they can be a huge target for hackers. Smartphones contain a lot of your personal information, which can give someone else all they need to steal your identity or your digital data. In this video, we're going to tell you how to stay safe while using a smartphone in this digital age. Facts First presents How to Protect Your Smartphone from Hackers, 10 Simple Tips. If you're watching this video on a smartphone, click the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. Strengthen your password. Some of us might look back at the good old days when having a password was a few characters long. It was easy to remember, and you didn't need something that looked like it spilled out from the Matrix. Unfortunately, these days it's too easy to guess a standard password, so it needs to be uncrackable. Here are some tips for making your password a little stronger. Combine old passwords with a new one to get supercharged passwords. You can add the name of your favorite animal or food with the year you first knew that. Add that on to the end of any password you already have to make your password like Fort Knox. Since most social media sites allow up to 15 characters for passwords, keep your login original. Characters and numbers are fine, but adding symbols and other special characters can really take your password up a notch. Be smart on social media. Social media isn't nearly as private or protected as you may think. In the old days, you could easily block people from looking at your information. But with the size of Facebook, it's rare that your profile is truly private. To maximize your safety, always click the settings that only allow your friends and family to see your posts and pictures. Unless you know someone who wants to be your friend, be cautious about accepting friend requests. Fake profiles can fool you into thinking you know that person. A quick look at their friend list and recent posts tell you if they're active in a group or not. Never look at a message to a friend request with links that look and feel fishy. Some sneaky hackers can copy friends' emails and send messages with links, hoping you'll press the link. By the time you do, you'll be suckered into giving up info you didn't want to be stolen. Worse yet, you could be locked out of your own profile account if they steal your password too. So always be on the lookout for suspicious messages. Don't use open Wi-Fi. It's nice to get free Wi-Fi when you go to your local coffee shop, since you probably know the owner already. But if you start seeing ads and other things on your smartphone, you might be getting phished. This is when someone uses open Wi-Fi signals to push viruses and phishing schemes to your phone. Never click on a link that comes from free Wi-Fi sources, especially if you visit a place you don't completely trust. When in doubt, consider approaching the manager or owner to see if they intended you to see something on your smartphone. It could be something that might seem harmless at first, but the risks of hacking software tools is too high. They can search for your private information and you won't even know your info was stolen until it's too late. Identity theft is the most common smartphone scam and can ruin your life in too many ways. If your smartphone doesn't come with its own service connection, don't waste your time with any free Wi-Fi. Luckily, with so many devices that have 5G connections, you shouldn't have any problems staying connected privately. Add more protection. Just like your home computer, you need a good firewall to protect your internet connection. Luckily, new phones do a bit more than that. Every phone has its own firewall, though you can always add more security apps to be double sure. And this is a measure. We've got iPhone 14 in a mouse case. Here we go. And as usual, we're all good.
We are Mouse. We began with one mission: to make the world's greatest phone case. That's why
Bear with us,
for the
please.
last 5
We're going to
years,
skip this in a minute.
£3 million developing our products. Limitless 5.0. Our
we recommend. Some apps work better for Android than they do for iPhone, but there's plenty of software available. A quick look through the Apple Store or Google Play app list will get you started. Some app names such as Norton, Avast, and McAfee are your best bets. It doesn't hurt to add this extra protection to your phone. Some firewall apps protect you from select dangers to help keep your ID and info safe, while others just target viruses. When it comes to overall coverage, find an app that offers complete packages. Choose what's best for you. Don't answer unknown numbers. The only scams we used to encounter were rudimentary email scams that were incredibly obvious. Who would fall for that these days? Well, sad to say, it's still happening to those who own a smartphone too. Did you ever get a missed call with an area code you don't recognize? While most of these get blocked by your phone automatically, some can slip through. Chances are, if you call back that number, you'll be sorry you did. The trick to this is that your call is routed through an international premium rate number. These are called IPRNs and can charge you way more than your monthly bill. It's called the Wanjiri scam, and it's more common than you think. If you call back that number, the cost of the call gets paid to the hackers. These one-ring calls are the typical signs of this scam, so you'll think you missed an important call. Don't be sucked into losing your money. Just erase or block the number. You won't be called by that number ever again. Hopefully, your smartphone will block other calls from that same area code as well. Use cloud storage. Cloud storage allows you to store important information and files in a location that's not on your phone. This can be smart because it means the files aren't located on your phone. If your phone is lost, stolen, or damaged, you won't lose any of the data in cloud storage. Most importantly, this means your information can be kept out of the hands of hackers. Cloud accounts are pretty hard to crack, so even if you have an account on your device, it'll be safe. These accounts often have double password encryption, so no two login attempts are the same. You might need a second login code sent to your mobile number to complete a cloud login. This keeps hackers from getting the information you want to keep private. While it might seem odd to put private information into cloud storage, it's not such a bad idea. Having a mobile device clutter-free when you use it for business means you don't have to worry about misplacing files or running out of storage. This also helps you travel light wherever you go, and you won't have to worry about losing your pen drive that could fall into the wrong hands. Check app permissions. All apps have settings that allow app permissions. This tells the app what it can and can't do when it's connected to the internet. Some of the common options include whether an app can access your photos, contacts, or camera and microphone. This is really important since you might not want your audio or visual gadgets to be used by other people. These settings also control the amount of info given about yourself and the information that's stored on your phone. If these app settings are set up to your approval, then you won't have to worry about that info being leaked. Often some hackers target certain apps that don't have secure internet connections. Your live images could be stolen through your phone or tablet, and you never know where they could end up after that. Worse yet is that your private info can be sold to marketing agencies who will target you just from your mobile search history. No, it's not just Facebook that does it. Numerous third-party app pirates like to sell your private info too. This can be avoided by checking your app permission settings on every app you decide to download. Watch out for phishing apps. By now you have a good idea what phishing means, and those who get hooked weren't being careful. Online game apps look attractive and have lots of flashy advertising, which is a bit like a worm on a hook. If you ever knew someone who likes sport fishing, they use special bait to lure and catch their fish. The same works for game apps, which tempt you with flashy graphics before taking your information. You'll know when you see these apps because they aren't on the official app sites such as Google Play or the Apple Store. Often they're traps that show up on rabbit hole websites. This is where you click on a link to a second website, which takes you through a string of different websites. You never actually get to the website that you're looking for. It can seem endless at times, and this is where you start to see very familiar app game links. These are usually copycat games that look just like the official ones, but they're not. They can trick you into giving up all sorts of information to play the game. They can also hack your phone, giving them access to your private info for them to exploit. Don't ever fall for this kind of fishy bait. Activate your phone's security features. New mobile devices give you lots of choices to protect you from getting hacked. There isn't a smartphone out there today that doesn't have software filters that spot apps or files with dangerous malware. This is similar to software in computers, which will prevent you from installing software that is detected to be unsafe. Antivirus blockers for apps are easy to turn on inside your smartphone settings. They're specifically designed to look for malware in app games. If a game doesn't download, chances are the app could be harmful to install. This is also great for kids who might not fully understand the apps they're clicking on or downloading. Once again, if your device thinks it's not good for downloading, you don't want to risk being hacked. Make sure you stick with official games that come from sources that have already screened their app games. But even Google Play and Apple Store apps can have malware that's hidden somewhere. So always activate your virus app blocker to be on the safe side. Go beyond passwords. Having your smartphone stolen is about the worst thing you can imagine. Then again, if they can get into your phone because you don't have a password set up, you're in real trouble. Fortunately, there are some innovative things you can do to prevent thieves from getting your information too easily. New apps and models now allow fingerprint identification to unlock a phone. For it to work, you press a touchscreen window holding your finger down. If your print doesn't match the exact image that's stored in the phone's memory, it won't open. This can also be combined with a two-step process that uses a fingerprint and a password. In addition, you should also install a mobile tracker. This can be activated as soon as you notice your phone is missing. An owner can then track their phone via the app and catch whoever is carrying your stolen goods. Some apps will even allow you to delete the info that's stored on the phone in an emergency. But as long as you can get your phone back in one piece, that's probably the best solution. Better call the police for help once you finally track down your phone. By now, you probably have some ideas on your own how you want to start protecting your smartphone from hackers. Now we'd like to hear from you. What's your biggest concern when it comes to smartphone safety? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked what you saw in this video, be sure to subscribe to Facts First.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Owa. I hope we all listened to this short video. As I said, it was just a summary of everything we've talked about in terms of us using our phones safely. And I wonder whether there was any points that really stuck out for anybody. I've got one or two I wrote down. Anything that they mentioned that you thought, what's that? Should we maybe discuss it more? Should we explore?
If permit me to say something, if there is anything I will be happy to take home or to go and digest, is that bit that says if you have a strange number calling you from unknown places, which I have witnessed a lot, because I really don't want to miss vital information. I would think, who might be trying to reach me? Let me quickly get back. And it's a strange code that is not within UK or even my place of origin, So I would be wondering who do I have in such a country that would be calling me? I'll call back because I have got the dactyl and all those bits, Unfortunately, even when I call back, nobody's picking that phone, and it will just hang on and be dull. I'll be wondering what's going on. You know what I mean? And what I just get to know from this video we watch is that you've ended up paying a sum of an amount to those who intentionally called you just to exploit you. So let's be aware of this and not fall a victim.
Yes, I know the video, just to make a point, the video did say avoid or don't answer unknown numbers. Some people genuinely don't answer numbers that they've not saved on their phone. But how practical is it? I'm like you, Owa. When I look at the number, I look at it 2 times, it's still ringing. I'm looking at that number. I'm trying to figure out, where are you from? Is it a landline? Sometimes it's a landline and it's still like random scam calls. They're telling me that, oh, I've been involved in some accident or something, really not relevant to me. So yeah, we just really have to be careful, especially because of that premium rate number. We don't want to be paying huge bills. There is this app I used to have on my phone. They call it, I'm just rounding up, sorry. They call it
take your time.
They call it Truecaller. That app will identify anybody that's calling you from wherever they are in the world. And when I mean identify, it tells you their name. So if somebody's trying to call you, you would see something like Osaze, something. You don't know this person, but it will tell you their name. So even when people are trying to hide their identity, it will identify them. I need to find that app and share it.
It's very common in Nigeria, I must say.
Yes,
they know
that's
where you are calling from.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing that stuck out, I don't know, does anybody have any other points? Is the mobile tracker. I don't know if we all have that on our phones. I remember very recently, my daughter thought she lost her phone and she was tracking her phone. Literally, it's in this place. It's in the house. It's in the room. It was funny, but it was good because she had an idea of where she thought the phone was. And it's the same as if you've got like headphones, maybe Apple, what they call it?
iPhone.
Yeah, iPhones, but AirPods.
Okay.
You can also track your AirPods. And if you're one person that uses maybe headphones a lot and AirPods and earphones, sometimes when the phone rings, you don't even check. You answer, you pick the calls without checking. So yeah, again, let's be mindful of that. Do we have any questions, anything? Because I need to really hand over now. How can you track your phone? You have to activate it on your device. It will be on your device. If you've got an iPhone, it's there. If you've got Android, it's there actually. I might find out that information and send to you, or maybe we can reach out to you on the platform and send that information. Or can we do that then?
Of
or
course,
maybe
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. Tracking your phone. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to ask this question.
That's okay.
Sometimes they send you text messages on WhatsApp, and you don't want to open it and read it. Like somebody told me that there's a way you can read your text message without people knowing that you've read the text message. So I just want to ask, is there anything like that? So how do you go about it? How do you do it?
Yes, there is. You have to activate that on your WhatsApp setting. So if you do that, that means when you also send messages to people, you won't be able to tell whether they've read it or not. It's vice versa. You can activate it because you can activate it whether you want the read reports or not. And it will show you whether you've read it by, displaying that 2 ticks. But if you deactivate it on your WhatsApp, it doesn't show you anything, doesn't tell the sender anything. Likewise, you won't be able to tell whether somebody else has read your messages. Sometimes you can read your messages from the top of your phone. Antonia, you just scroll down, you draw your phone down, the screen of your phone down, and you will see your messages there. You can reply without reading it because you can see the messages there and you can ignore it. So the person would not even know whether you've read it or not. So that's the tip for you.
Thank you.
But it will be on your WhatsApp settings,
Okay.
Antonia. Yeah.
I have, sorry to cut you short. I've noticed that most people are concerned with these WhatsApp messages and all that. Is it possible for us to make one section on this, Joy?
Just WhatsApp, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
On everything that have to do with how do I block?
Okay. So we will do like a live demo then.
Exactly. Because there is a way you block. If you don't want anyone to go to call you or to message you, you can block them. And some people, they are with us here, they do not know how to do that. I think it's an opportunity for us to learn that.
All right, let's do that next week.
And what again? Let's see how to read messages. That's we go into settings, how do we do different settings so that people come in, they know that you are not tracing them, you're not reading their messages, So make a
all right, we'll look into that probably next week, hopefully, if not the upper week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joy. That was great. We are happy to have you in our midst, Continue to
great to be here. I'm learning from everybody. It's great to be here.
Wow. That's it from Joy. So let's use this opportunity to invite, I think you'll be seeing her in the background. Her name is Susie. She's somebody I respect because when it comes to mental health, I really don't know what to say. She knows her stuff. People go to her. She's a specialist in this. She knows her stuff. People go to her surgery. They get a lot of information that have to do with mental health. Don't think everybody is quite there is one little mental health or the other that is within us. When we say mental health, most people that comes from Afro-Caribbean, they see it to be running naked when you are going on the street and all that. It's not all about that. There is more to it. It could be depression, it could be stress. I will leave it up for Susie to digest for us, Let's sit back and see what she has got for us. Please remember, this is a session that will rub mind together. You talk about yourself and the people learn from your experience. As you learn from us, we learn from you as well. Let's welcome Susie. Welcome, Susie. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks all for having me. And it's good to be on this platform with everyone. And Joyce, that was a very lovely presentation. Thank you for putting us through with the cybersecurity measures that we need to take into consideration. It's good to be here to join you all. I'll just give you a brief background of what I do and who I am. So my name is Susie EJ. Presently, I work as one of the lead nurse practitioner within the mental health setting. So I work for the Success Partnership. I've got background in nursing, LD. I've worked in nursing home, hospital setting, inpatient and outpatient. Right now, my main focus is helping and working with people with mental illness within the community and promoting healthy well-being. I tend to practice a lot of therapeutic intervention with a lot of patients, and that includes, teaching strategy, making people identify where they are, what their mental well-being is all about, how they can move on. It's not all about medication. It's not all about, I'm not feeling well. Something is wrong with my mental health. What brought about your mental health? How did you get there? How can you identify? How can you know that this is actually what is wrong with me? So we have a lot of factors that we can put into consideration. Before we go into the detail, I would kindly encourage everyone to make it very interactive, because if you don't ask questions, feel free to stop me at any point in time. If you don't ask questions, I might doze off and I won't know what to say. I'll just be blabbing. So I need you guys to encourage me and gear me up by asking questions and stopping me at any point in time. And yeah, we can all learn from each other. Your idea is welcome, okay? And I hope you will enjoy it as much as I would like you to learn. I also want to learn from you as well. So I'm just going to share one of my slides. Please kindly let me know if you can see the slide. Can you see my slide? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so it's all about enhancing mental well-being. There are 5 ways to well-being at work. So if we are looking at well-being, let's look at this. It says, what makes you feel good? What makes us feel good as human beings? Is there anybody that would like to let me know what makes them feel good? I've got some couple of slides from, I know this is, majority does not cover ethnic minority, but we still have some of them. So from my people, what makes you feel good? What makes you feel happy? Is it going to party? Is it sleeping? For me, sometimes I love sleeping, so I sleep a lot. I don't know, is there any other person that likes sleeping like me?
I'm like you. I love sleeping when I can.
Exactly. You
Morning
see?
sleep for that matter. Imagine.
Exactly. So that is it. So that is our well-being, things that make us feel happy, things that we do that we consider to be our day-to-day activity of daily living. Not just activity of daily living. It could be a skill. It could be just a just socialization. It could be a craft. It could be anything. As long as you engage yourself in it and you delight satisfaction, that alone makes you, happy. And that is what your well-being will work alongside with to make you have a fulfilling experience on a daily basis. So we're looking at this mental well-being to cover our working well, our environmental factor. There are some factors that we'll put into consideration. So far in this topic, we'll be covering mental well-being and what keeps people and organization well. We will learn about the 5 ways to well-being and some other practical things that improve our well-being at any point in time. So that brings us to the main question: what is mental health and well-being? So the definition we have here is that mental health and well-being is a state of well-being where you can reach our potential, cope with normal stressor, work productively, and contribute to the community. The aspects of work that harm or impair mental well-being are commonly referred to as psychosocial risks, but it may be more helpful to refer to psychosocial risks simply as risks to mental health. So in this case, we are looking at the working environment, which has to do with our psychosocial environment and the risk factor that contribute to it. For any human being to have a poor mental health, it has to do with distress. So we look at the mental distress, which is also known as a mental illness. It's different from when you feel different from every other person. Sometimes some people are not even aware that they are different from every other person. But if you work in the field, if you work in the industry for a long time, you can easily spot people on the street, in the community, and you will know that there is something wrong with this person. Even your friends, family members, people that you are close to, you might be talking to them for a very long time. All of a sudden, you just notice that something has changed about them. What brought about the change? This person is not talking the way they should talk. This person is quiet. This person is a bit withdrawn. That alone gives you an insight to say that there is a problem, okay? And that this person might be struggling psychologically. So for anybody to have a mental illness, it has to be related to a psychological effect. It could be as a result of the environment. It could be as a result of the community. It could be as a result of other stressors, maybe finances, it could be stress, it could be depression, it could be loss, it could be bereavement. In most cases, for a lot of us African people, our major issue of mental illness starts from the moment we don't have money. I sometimes feel depressed when I don't have money. I don't know. I don't know if I have a sister out there that is like me, but that is just it. So we have a lot of factors that contribute to that. Again, how do you identify this? It is normal to be worried. I always say that. It is normal to be worried about your finances. It is normal to be worried about your cousins, your nephew, your loved ones when they are ill. It is normal for you to be worried about, well, recently in my country, I'll use that as a case scenario, Nigerian election. It's normal for me to be worried about that. However, it becomes abnormal when I dwell on it for a prolonged period of time and I'm unable to function effectively the way I am supposed to be functioning. Again, it becomes abnormal when you find yourself lying in bed 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and you don't even want to open the curtain. You don't even want to talk to anybody. You don't want to pick the phone. If you do it 1 day, fair enough, we understand. You do it maybe 1.5 days. Once it gone past 2 days, then there is something underlying which calls for concern, which calls for worry, okay? And when that happens, so we look at mental distress. Have I talked about this? Yeah. So some people might have a formal diagnosis of mental health issue, others might not. Okay. So far, there are some people that have chronic mental illness. There are some people that have some mild mental illness, and it could be from mild to severe. And in most cases, it can result in what can be termed as psychological disorder. The most common part of mental illness that you and I know today is anxiety and depression. Anxiety, everybody has anxiety. So if the bailiff is coming to knock on the door, your heart will skip. If you know, oh, my direct debit needs to come out of the account tomorrow and I don't have enough money, your heart will skip, you become anxious. But if the anxiety continues with time, then it becomes a big issue. The depressive state comes when you become anxious, you become worried, and you think left, you think right, you can't find solution, you don't know what else to do. Then you then find out you start breathing, taking a deep breath in, breathing and out without you knowing subconsciously, and then every other factor around you gets affected. So it will now move from an anxious state to a depressive state. Then the depressive state then would gradually now sum up, and before you know it, from a mild depressive state, it becomes an acute and then to a chronic state. And that is when, before you know it, then they said this person might have a mood disorder, or there will then be other diagnoses. From there, you then find out that they are saying some people are having bipolar, some people are having, schizophrenia. It starts from a very low level and gradually it mounts up. So it's always good for us as human beings to have good supportive network. If we have good people around us, then we will be able to promote a very healthy mental well-being for ourselves, okay? So if you're looking at mental health and mental well-being, we are looking at the spiritual well-being. We're looking at our environmental factor. We're looking at our historic contents. We look at our past, our family and all of that. We look at culture. We look at social relationship. Who are your friends? Who do you talk to? Who can you confide in? You have your inner circles or the outside circles. How, to what extent can you talk to people? Can you seek for help and people come to you, your friends? Then we look at the economic and political factor. Is it the government shooting everybody outside and everybody is hiding away? Is it because there is no currency or no money outside there? Is it because of inflation? Could that be impacting on our well-being, directly or indirectly? And then we then look at our physical health, which is another major concern for us you know, as human beings. People could be ill. Maybe one person might have one form of disability or not. And then you see your friends, they're all walking. You cannot walk the way they are doing, or you have a physical health that limits you from doing what you used to do before. And because of that, you just isolate yourself. You don't do anything. You don't talk to anybody, and you just feel down most of the time. Then we start.
Question.
Yeah. So,
Can I ask
resilience
a
model.
question, please, Antonia? Sorry, Susie. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes, please. I'm happy. But
Okay.
go
All
ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, so can mental health be hereditary? Does it, because sometimes you hear that people say, oh, it runs in the family. Okay. Can it be hereditary? Is this something
Yes,
that can be passed on?
It can. Again, a typical scenario of mental illness that are hereditary are people that have had it in a long period of time from their father's grandfather. And that is, whenever a risk assessment is done, we tend to, you know, ask broad questions. We tend to draw up information from past, present, and that's why we look at it holistically. We look at the environment, we look at your father's history, your mother's side. Is it coming from the mother's side? Is it coming from the father's side? How long has it been in the family? In most cases, the kind of hereditary ones are the ones that are of acute nature. So we are talking of people with maybe bipolar, mood disorder, depression, which is quite similar to high blood pressure in the general physical, you know, physical health. If you're looking at it from a physical health perspective, people can have high blood pressure from a very young age. People can have, what other disease can people contract from family? There are a lot of illnesses, diabetes, that's a sugar, and all of that. Same thing with mental health. So it runs in some family. It's there for a long time, and you know, so
are you saying that there's a biological reason for it then? Because sometimes you think mental health is kind of, it comes upon somebody as a result of some stressors in their life, physical things, situations that they're not coping well with. So also there's some biological explanation for it, right?
So mental health, basically, when we're doing the assessment, we look at the biological aspect of it. And then we look at the physical aspect, we look at the psychosocial aspect, which has to do with the social environment, political factors, and well-being. Mental health can be biological, and also it can't be as a result of your day-to-day. So when you're talking about the biological, you're talking about the hereditary one, the long-standing one, the ones that have been in the family, that have been passed on from generation to generation. And then when you're looking at the mild level of it, you're looking at the one that is occurring presently due to the situation that has not been addressed, or the factor that is impacting on the well-being of that individual at that point in time. Okay, so those ones are the ones that can easily be rectified. But the ones with long-standing history, that is where the medication kicks in. That's where the medication comes in. And that is where they have to place people on constant monitoring, and they advise never take yourself off any medication except a professional advise you otherwise. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it. So, yeah, resilience. So at this point in time, our study is solely based on, we are looking at the mild level of anxiety and depression, stroke, mood disorder. That's what we are basing our study on, our well-being as a whole. We're not focusing on the biological aspect, so we're doing the psychosocial bit at this point in time. Yeah, so yes, people, resilience model. How can you know that things is not going on right? What measures can you take as an individual to help yourself, to know when to call for help, to know when to stop, to say that, okay, this is the little skill that I can use to bring myself out of the mood. I have an auntie, whenever she doesn't have money, or whenever she's quarreling with her husband, or she's feeling depressed, she will put her clothes in the bag. She will call all her friends and say that, how many of you have party, or do you know anybody that has party going on this Saturday? And her whole mode of taking the stress off herself and making herself happy is to go from one party to the other so she can attend 3 or 4 parties a day. And a lot of people were like, wait, so when she's telling people that, oh, I go to party 2 or 3 times, you know, on a particular day, Saturday or Sunday, I can go to up to 2 parties, people will be asking that, you know, why are you doing this? Are you normal? People think she's not well. People think she's doing an unusual thing. But she's a senior nurse, you know, and she's only using that to maintain her well-being, to get the stress off her. To what extent can we apply a resilience model to help us to curb the level of anxiety and stress that we pass through on a daily basis without it impacting on us negatively? Okay, so that's it. So I will look at this theory from Dr. Lucy Horn. Talks about resilient people. He said they know that suffering is part of resilient people know that suffering is part of every human existence. A perfect life is not the norm. Resilient people are good at identifying what they can change and accepting what they can't. Resilient people are good at asking, is what I am doing helping or harming me? Resilient people are great at finding things to be grateful for. So we as individuals should be able to know and identify what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, what we can change and what we cannot change, what is harming us and what is not harming us, you know? What can we change? What are we grateful for in life? So if we are able to identify that, then we will worry less, we will accept situation that is affecting us, and then we will accept the ones that is affecting us that we cannot change, and the ones we can change, we will go extra mile, we will do everything we can to make sure we're effective, because we know if we effect it rightly, it will have positive impact on our life as a whole, okay? Interestingly, the statistic for mental health problem in UK has cost UK economy at least 117.9 billion annually. This is a recent research from the London School of Economic and Political Science. So imagine UK investing this kind of money to treat people with mental illness. And then the solution does not lie on professional like me and you. You come to me and I sit down and listen to your problem. And I say, what if you try it this way, that way, you know, which is ideally what we can do. However, if you and I can create positive attitude towards everything in life and accept the fact that I can change this, I can't change that, that way you'll find out that we help the government to spend less on what they are spending at this point in time, because this is affecting GDP of UK 5% as a whole, okay? And across UK, it says there that across UK, there were 10.3 million recorded instances of mental ill health over a 1-year period. And the third most commonly cause of this disability was depression. So depression is rampant. COVID did not do any huge justification in our life. COVID was one of the things that aggravated this and allowed the statistic to shoot up to this extent. It has not been easy. You find out that a lot of people isolate themselves. They would not talk. So it's always good when we don't see people we love, when we don't see people we care for, check on them, because you don't know what they are passing through. Recently, death rate has increased in UK because people cannot even pay for electricity. They can't afford to pay their bill. They can't even afford to eat 3 square meals. Well, in those days, they used to say 3 square meals. Now, people that eat 2 square meals are the healthy ones in UK. Majority of people that come to mental health barely have 1 meal a day. It's that bad. And this is not happening in Africa, where you and I know This is happening here in UK. People come and they tell you, we can't even afford a can of baked beans. So we have a huge role to play, my fellow ones. We have a huge role to play, and that includes caring for our loved one, caring for people around us, ensuring that when we don't see, we look for each other, okay? Those unhappy with their health, we should also consider them. People having health issue, people stressed as well. A lot of people might be working, you think they earn $1 million. My dear, ask them what their problem is. And by the time they open their mouth, you'll be surprised that the person you think is earning this, you're actually better off, you know, with your little benefit. You find out that the person that you think is earning $1 million, she's living in a mansion, hardly even sleep. And you can afford to sleep 10 hours a day. They cannot even afford to sleep 3 hours a day. So my definition of a rich and healthy person is someone that has good health, someone that can eat whatever they like at any point in time, someone that is happy with themselves, okay? And someone that is always positive, takes everything positive and see beyond other people's fault. That is a wealthy person. That is someone that lives a good, well-being life and should be emulated. And I think all of us should be like that. Yeah, another statistic, I'm sorry. I have a lot of statistics here. So they upgraded this, that about 57% of people worry because of lack of money to support themselves and their family. People are thinking about their kids. Will they cope with the pressure? 55% of mothers especially. There's the planet and the future, the climate, the global event issues, not being happy with themselves. People that are not feeling happy enough with themselves is about 49%. And I can go on. So the list is ended. Because of our time, I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So what do we actually want for our life? Do we want to feel good? Do we want to function well? Do we want to feel connected? If you sit down and fold your hands and worry from today to tomorrow, it's not going to bring about the solution. We always say problem shared is a problem solved. Talk about it. It is important we talk about everything that worries us, everything that bothers us. It is important. I believe one thing in life. If I tell you my problem and you laugh at me, then you're not my friend. Okay? But if I tell you my problem, I share my issue with you, and you can see reason with me and you can advise me aright, then it means that you are my friend. So we should be able to stand and support each other during our trying times. We should not make mockery of each other, because you don't know when your time will come. You don't know when you will be in that tight corner. Today, you and I might be healthy. We don't know what will become of us tomorrow in the next future. We don't know what can happen. When we see people grieving, people have different ways of grieving. I've seen people grieve to death. I've watched people grieve to death. I've watched people lose all their functioning skill just because they are grieving. Grieving costs a lot of depression for people, that you find out that they end up isolating, and before you know it becomes a major thing. You know, money costs issue. Let's be there for each other. I don't have food. If it's a little thing that you can afford, give that person. Reach out to the person. Even if you don't have money, money is not everything in life. I don't believe in money. I believe in the love that we share. I believe in the time that we give to each other. So the 5 ways for us to maintain good well-being is for us to stay connected. It's for us to be active. Exercise is a good form of activity for any human being. Not just exercise, going to work. If you're not working, volunteer, do a charity job, go to the church, do something. Come out of the house, don't stay at home. Don't sit by yourself. Don't say that, they make mockery of me. I think these people are thinking another common thing that we have in mental illness is that a lot of people are very intrusive. They always believe that everybody's thinking negatively about them. People will say that, oh, you see a group of people gathering, or maybe you see two of your old friends sitting together and you walk past and maybe they stop talking. You don't even know if they are talking about their personal life, but they don't want you to hear. Next thing you say, oh, they were talking about me. They've been gossiping about me. They don't like me. They are this, they are that. And that's where it begins. And because of that, you then shut everything against them. You don't want to have anything to do with them. You've lost two good friends, my dear. They were talking about business. They were talking about their own personal thing. And you, out of nowhere, just assumed you made a wrong assumption. So let's stop making a wrong assumption about each other. Let's love ourselves. Let's believe more in ourselves. Let's stay connected. Okay? So if we are strongly bonded, nothing can divide us. Let's keep learning. Learn every day, give, and take notice of any changes around you. In terms of your physical health, in terms of anything, take notes of your friends, take notes of the people around you. Strong relationship with others are an essential part of building resilience and boosting well-being. They set us up well for life, for when life is tough. So that's about it. What else was I going to say? We've talked about giving, we've talked about learning. If we then believe in ourselves, if we do the right thing, then you find out that our life will be more easy. We will live a healthy and happier life. We will think positively. Worrying in life. There's this study that we did in mental health, in psychology, which is called graded exposure. It says that when you are anxious and you don't address a situation that is causing you anxiety, you're anxious and you say, okay, I'm going to leave that situation. I'm going to run away from it. You find out that wherever you go, you will still come back to that situation. That problem will still be there. It's not leaving. The problem is waiting for you. So you come back the next day, you still meet the problem, you run away again. You go back, you come back the day after. So how long will you keep running away from your own shadow, from your own situation? It's always good for us to face it. My friend offended me. Talk to my friend. You know, call your friend. Oh, what you did yesterday is not good. Address it and then move on. Clear it off your mind. Worry less. Money will always come and go. Stress will always come and go. If a job is not good enough for you, leave the job, okay? And look for another job that will give you satisfaction and delight. Make life simple as much as possible for ourselves. And above all, let's continue to love each other. And that is it from me today. And thank you for having me. I hope we've learned something. I'm happy to answer any question that anyone has. Thank you. Owa.
I've got a question, sorry.
Please
I didn't want to interrupt you. Has anybody else got a question? Sorry. I don't want to.
Let it flow. Joy, shoot on with your question so we all can ask as well.
All right. So we know that there's a big stigma about mental health in certain cultures, especially from Black and ethnic minorities. So how do we overcome that barrier to seeking help, you know, with our mental well-being? For a lot of us, it's almost like a taboo, I'm not going to lie. If you have a family member that's got mental health problem, sometimes you feel ashamed to even discuss it with somebody else. People in certain communities can relate more with physical illnesses that they can see, they can touch, you know, they know about it, they can diagnose it, and they can empathize with you more. But when it comes to mental health, I mean, a lot of people, it doesn't matter how educated you are, it's just about the mindset. They are completely clueless, they are non-empathetic, they cannot reason with you, hence they cannot support you. So therefore, the network of support that you think you have around you are not really helpful, because when it comes to mental health, they have no awareness. They have no sufficient awareness to be able to support you through that process. So what has been done to sort of like try and overcome all these barriers that's right in front of us?
So the governments have put in a lot of funds to support people, to educate people. And that is why when you find out everywhere in UK now, they're always talking about mental well-being. And then we have a place online where anybody can call within any borough, call, what's it called now? They call them IAPs. So talking therapy, time to talk. You might have heard about it, time to talk. It's all about educating the people around us. If my husband is not educated, it is my responsibility to educate him about mental health. Stigmatization, just like you have said, has been running hugely among the minority ethnic group for years. We've had practitioners working and their children have mental health issues and they're telling them do not seek help. And you are actually offering help to other people because you believe that once your child comes, you live in that borough, you work in the borough, if your child seek help, they will know you. You become a form of target or a bully or whatever you think it is. But that's not it. It's about the individual that is affected here. It's not about our culture. It's time for everybody to know that mental illness is not the end of the world. Even people with any lifelong threatening illness, i.e., what do you call it, HIV or AIDS, we don't have to run away from them. They can live a healthy life as long as they have good supportive network. It's time for us to move away from the whole belief that this person is mad, so therefore everybody in their family is going to be mad. Don't marry from that family. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. Mental health can be managed. It can be managed. And if people are encouraged to talk about it, it makes life much more easier. If family members are not aware, you can talk to your doctors, you can talk to professionals, they can organize talk, they can send them informative leaflets, flyers, posters. We have a lot of small network groups for carers and family members. We call it the carer network. And we have the family network as well. That you'll find out that a lot of, I will cite an instance for us now that will make it more explicit. I once worked with the perinatal mental health team. And then we find out that a lot of women suffer from what is called postnatal depression. Some of you will know. After birth, you find out that you become very irritable. Some would not even want to see their child or their children. Some cannot even carry a cup, to the kitchen, let alone move. And their condition get worsened because they can't seek help, because family is religious, or because they will label them one way or the other. And before you know it, the harm does not just extend to the person involved, the mother involved, it's being carried on to the child that has been given birth to. The mother might be given the child, formula instead of breast milk because she doesn't have the strength for it. Yeah, some of them you find out that they just abandon the child. They can't even hold their baby. Some mothers cannot even hold their baby, let alone care. Some will say because something has happened to them, they don't even have a single affection for either the husband or the baby involved. But it's just about showing extra love. It's just about giving that person support at that point in time. It's just about for them to get the right treatment at that point in time. And you find that gradually they will come out and become normal again. So that's just one factor that I've just mentioned so far. Yeah. There are lots of other factors. There are lots of other areas that we can look at and we can cite example on. Stigmatization is something that needs to be abolished. You and I are the future generation that need to enlighten people around us. As someone have mental health, you go to church and you meet the person, you find everybody will run away. They don't want to sit near the person. They believe this person is smelling or this person. So why did the person come to church in the first instance? to seek solace, to seek help, to socialize, to meet with people.
Can I jump in there, Susan?
Yeah.
Sorry. So yes, so that's one idea of mental health. There are some people that are so high functioning, they are successful, they are doing everything, they are jovial. I've spoken to them, they're very lively, people's person. But then when it comes to you talking about or assessing health and well-being, and they tell you I suffer from depression. And it's tough because sometimes when you see people, most times it's the people that are overly vibrant. They are, sometimes it might even be a cover-up. There's more within that person. There is something deep in there that's unresolved, that is eating up, bothering this person. And when they go to their closet, it's a completely different story. So we must move from the idea that somebody who's got mental health must always be sad. Yes, there is perpetual constant sadness about their life, but you might not actually necessarily see it in the open. There's a lot of cover up, but within the inside, it's a completely different story, and there are antidepressants and so on and so forth. And some societies are used to, like in America now, people have therapies, like they see the doctors, like they see the pharmacist. It's normal. I have a therapy that I'm talking to, but in certain societies, it's like, oh, okay. You first of all have the shivers. All right, you process that. She's seen a therapy. What's going on? Okay, maybe they're sad, they're depressed, they're suicidal. No, it probably hasn't even come to that. But it's just our ideology. Like you said, we just really need to change our thinking, our perspective, educate ourselves, be more aware of, the changes and how mental health can actually graduate. And there are different levels, isn't it, Susan? More anyway. It could just really be basic, and then it graduates to something unmanageable. So we need to capture it at that early stage where it's still manageable, where you can get support and come out of it. You can actually come out of depression, isn't it, Susan?
Exactly. Yes, you can. You can. You're right, Joy. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So it's just, Joy, I think Joy has just summarized everything. Life is worth living. Life is sweet. Life is what you make of it, everyone.
Absolutely.
So if you choose to be happy, you will be happy. And if you choose to be down, if you choose to shut yourself away from the whole world, that is the beginning of what we call depression. So please come out of it, talk about it. If you feel one friend is not helpful, move to another. Don't be ashamed that you've told, hey, okay, it's you seeking the help and you have a purpose to fulfill. So don't stop until you get the right help. Stigmatization has always been. I cannot eradicate it. You cannot eradicate it. We are educating people. It's a working process. So do not believe that you can just effect the change. Isolating yourself and shutting down from everybody is not the solution. Okay? So I encourage all of us to continue to live a healthy well-being and always exercise. I don't know if you believe in anything you believe in God, please call God. Speak to your God, it will help you. Whatever you believe in, practices. Spirituality is part of well-being. It's quite helpful, but do not do it to the extreme. When it goes to the extreme, that's when it becomes a very big issue. But it is good to practice whatever you believe in. Okay? The Hindus practice yoga. It works for them. Today, it's been westernized. They will tell you if you want to do mindfulness. Part of yoga exercise. So another form of relaxation is listening to music. It's good. Please, for people that cannot sleep at night time, we always encourage that we encourage people on what we call the sleep hygiene. Don't stay in your bed all day. That's why we say, come out, walk 5 minutes, walk 10 minutes, come out of the house every day, get fresh air. Okay? Drink cold drink at nighttime. Play soft music and sleep. You find out that it will help you worry less and relax your nerve, and you'll be able to sleep. I'm not saying you will not worry when there is a need for it, but you can help yourself and talk about it, please. Okay? Thank you, everyone. And I hope we've learned something little from me, much as I've learned from you all as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. I don't know what more what to add more, but one thing I would like to tell everyone is mental health. If you work in a mental health setting, you know that it's not only the poor that comes to access that type of service. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have high professionals in the society that comes. They are up there. I don't want to use a specific name like prime ministers and all that, but we have a lot of people in key places, that come to access the service. And at the end, they get to get their mental health back, and they will no longer come to the service. There will be no need for people to come to use that type of service because they've used it and it's worked for them. So it's not all about mental health, it's all about for those that are poor, that are not well to do. Professionals do use it and they get results. So let's not get to that edge of it before we start running. Let's keep helping that's the purpose of this session. Let's keep helping ourselves by just a little bit of what Susan and Joy has been talking about, going out, accessing different services, using your mobile phone, call to people, socializing, go to parties, do what you like doing best, watch home video, laugh a lot. These are things I'm not only saying it, I'm learning to do it, and it is working for me. So let's try to applies all those strategies, and so that we'll get a better life, and we enjoy what we've labored for. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Suzanne. Please, you have to come back and do mental health in children for us.
Exactly. You see what I mean?
Mental health and children.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, because most of us here have children. So
exactly.
We'll talk about that definitely.
Thank you so much.
Topic. Do any of us have any question to ask Susie? Even if you don't have one now, you can write in the chat or you can privately message me so that we can, if you have personal questions, you can privately message me and I will send it to Susie or anyone that is directly for Madam Joy too. I'll do the same. Please, please, please. Let's not tie ourselves down and be ashamed of what we have. A problem shall discuss is a problem solved, You don't just tie it to yourself. So let's try to help ourselves. Is that okay? Do we have any question? We have a lot of people among us here. Please, we have Blessing, Antonia, Modupeola. We have Miss Adegbaso, we have Jide, we have Mata, Jennifer, everyone here, please. Let's ask question or private message me. Do we have question before we go? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next week, same time, for another section that will be something new, something we'll be expecting, things that will help our daily life. So let's try to log in on time. And bye-bye from me.
Bye, Joy. Bye,
everyone.
Have a lovely weekend.
You too, Antonia.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.